Greg Ehrenberg from Odd Chopper here to bring you the best MLB bets from the Saturday. So we've had a really good week to this point. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave a comment below. I really do appreciate it. I like engaging with you guys. Let me know whatever bets you guys like for today, whether it's tailing my bets, a bet of your own that you really like, you think that I missed and didn't talk about it. Let me know below in the comments section. And a couple of shout outs from yesterday. We had a player named Gus. He said he felt good about the Manning pick and it just hit. So I'm about to recap the bets that we had from yesterday, but Matt Manning over strikeouts was one of them. And then we also had Austin Kruger. He bet the Padres -1.5. And the Padres didn't just cover the 1.5 spread. They won 12-3. If you had some like crazy alternate spread, we bet on like -5.5. That obviously would have won really easily there. So really good bet by Austin there because of the Padres. They absolutely steamrolled the Diamondbacks yesterday. And I mean, our bets did really good as well yesterday. We've actually only had one losing day for the entire week for the baseball bets. So recapping yesterday's bets and something else that was nice is two of the bets that I had here were also plus money bets. So it wasn't like there were significant minus money or anything like that. The first one was Taijuan Walker under 5.5 strikeouts, a plus money bet. And that was the tightest one on the entire slate because we had Taijuan Walker under 5.5. He pitched into the 8th inning, and he did register a few strikeouts early. So it looks like that was going to be a loser. But then the Pirates just kept hanging in. They were battling. They were making contact. Walker made it into the 8th inning, but ultimately ended up getting taken out in that spot and finished with 5 strikeouts to the under one. Then we cleared Kluber over 4.5 strikeouts, another plus money bet. And Kluber was at 4 strikeouts through 2 innings. And I'm thinking, all right, this one's going to win really easily. And then what happens? Kluber starts to get lit up in the 3rd inning. I started to get a little nervous that he was going to get pulled early, but he didn't. He held on, hit the over there. And then the final one was Matt Manning over 3.5 strikeouts. And that one also won fairly easily there. Matt Manning pitched really well against the White Sox, ended up cashing the over. So 3 for 3 on Friday to bring us into the weekend. Hopefully, I'm going to be keeping that momentum going. Also, if you guys want any additional bets from me or any of the other guys on the YouTube channel, we have a new premium betting Discord where we've got a bunch of different guys in there. I have a couple of MMA bets that I've already posted and some really long odds props that I like as well for the Saturday slate. So if you guys are interested in that, you get access to it for free by signing up, just clicking on the link below. Or if you go over to the Stochastic website, you could sign up using the promo code GE Insider. But the easiest way is just clicking on that link below. But that aside, let's talk about the best MLB bets for Saturday's action. The first bet of the day, it's a difficult one for me because I love George Kirby, but I'm betting the under on his strikeouts prop at 5.5. And Kirby is one of my favorite pitching prospects in baseball. We have had a lot of success betting the overs on his strikeout props this year. And the Angels are a team that we've generally picked on from a strikeout perspective this year. So what gives? Why am I looking at the under here? Well, a couple of things. Number one, this current version of the Angels lineup does not have nearly as many strikeouts as the one from earlier in the season. Jared Walsh, not on the roster right now, injured. And then we got Brandon Marsh. He was traded away at the deadline. So it's not quite the same crazy high strikeout team that we saw from a couple months ago. Now, there's still strikeouts to be had. Don't get me wrong. As good as Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani are as hitters, they do strike out a whole bunch. But I'm just saying this is not like far and away the worst strikeout team in baseball anymore. And as good as George Kirby is, I just have some concerns about how deep he's going to be allowed to pitch into games at this point in the season because, like we see with a lot of young pitchers, their innings kind of get capped towards the end of the year. And then something else to consider as well, the Mariners have kind of already clinched their spot in the playoffs. Not 100%, but the probabilities, if you look at Fangraphs, it's like 90+% odds that the Mariners are going to make the playoffs. And I think they're going to want to have George Kirby available and be totally rested for the playoffs. Because if you look at his career innings pitched, he's never been anywhere close to this kind of workload, which is generally a red flag for me in terms of top prospects towards the end of the season. 111 innings for George Kirby at the big league level this year. He also had a couple that he threw at AAA and some more in AA. So overall this year, George Kirby has thrown about 140 innings. Last year in 2021, his first full year in the Angels organization pitching in the minor leagues, he only threw 77 innings. So that's where I really get concerned. Like, what is his pitch count going to look like today? How deep are they going to let him work into the game? Because 2 starts ago, for instance, Kirby only pitched 3 innings. And we've seen a lot of weird hooks with pitchers down the stretch of the season where it's like, oh, this guy's going pretty good. And then all of a sudden he's out after 59 or 70 pitches or something like that. So that's where I really get concerned here with George Kirby. And the number is set at 5.5, and it's plus money on the under. So the first bet of the day I'm looking at here, George Kirby under 5.5 strikeouts. The next bet of the day, it is Chris Bassitt over 5.5 strikeouts, which is frankly a line that I'm a little bit confused by because yesterday we had Taijuan Walker also projected for 5.5 strikeouts, but Chris Bassitt is a much better strikeout pitcher than Taijuan Walker. One thing I will note though is just make sure you are getting the best line because 5.5 is available, but it is 6.5 at some books, so it could move. But it's also, I like to talk about line shopping and making sure you guys get the best value possible. And that's why also we have different deals like BetMGM, the sponsor of the video today. If you sign up at BetMGM for the first time, clicking on the link below, and then you head on over to BetMGM and place a $10 money line bet on any NFL game tomorrow, they're going to give you $200 for free. Just make sure to take advantage of these different offers so that you're really sure to make sure that when we're making these videos, you're looking for bets, you just have different sports books to be able to place the wager on because you don't want to bet Chris Bassitt over 6.5 strikeouts when you get it over 5.5 on another book. And that's what I'm looking at here with Chris Bassitt. The over-under is 5.5. Like I said, 6.5 in some places. And it's weird that he would have the same over-under as Taijuan Walker when you consider that Chris Bassitt is just much better than Taijuan Walker and is a higher strikeout rate. So yesterday when we were talking about Walker only has a strikeout rate of 20%. Bassitt's is 22.9%. And then also the underlying numbers for Chris Bassitt, considerably better. Bassitt shares a 3.44 ERA, 3.29 expected ERA. He's been a really, really solid pitcher for the Mets this season. And also, if you look at some of his recent starts, we've seen some bigger strikeout totals, like against the Pirates a couple games ago, for instance. He struck out 10 hitters. Now he's got the same matchup against the Pirates, and his strikeout prop is set at 5.5. So I'm liking this number at 5.5. I do think there's a pretty good chance it moves to 6.5 later. If you guys are seeing 6.5, I would just avoid it. But early in the day where 5.5 is available, let's hit that one over 5.5 Ks for Chris Bassitt. Now, for my final bet of this Saturday slate, I'm looking at Eduardo Rodriguez over 3.5 strikeouts. And I'm a bit of a mark for Eduardo Rodriguez. I think he's a good pitcher that is just really just had some terrible luck over the last few years. I'll talk about that more in a second, but I mean, 3.5 strikeouts is such a low prop for this guy. And I know he's coming off an outing where he got roughed up a little bit, although it was against a really difficult Houston Astros team. Only had 2 strikeouts in that start. But overall for the season, we've had 13 starts for Eduardo Rodriguez. One of them he got hurt in the early going and only got 1 out. So let's take that one out of the mix. Of the 12 full starts that Eduardo Rodriguez has had this year, he's had 4 more strikeouts in 8 of them. And this Chicago White Sox offense, it's just not one to be feared. They've massively disappointed across the entire season, and they're always banged up and hurt. No Tim Anderson in the lineup right now, for instance. So when you're taking a lot of key hitters out of the lineup, which just happens all the time for this team, Luis Robert hurt, Eloy Jimenez, and I'm not saying right now that he's hurt, but just in general, like Tim Anderson's been in and out of the lineup this year, and he's hurt right now. Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, these are all guys that are constantly in and out of the lineup. There's just been no consistency in the White Sox batting order. And I also think the health, even when guys are not out of the lineup, even when they're playing, it's hard to believe these guys are at 100% full health, just considering how the season's gone and how often these guys are missing games. So then getting back to Eduardo Rodriguez, historically, he's been a pretty good strikeout pitcher. He hasn't had the best year this season, but he's also been hurt. But if we look at the last couple of years, he's been on the mound. Last year, 27.4% K rate. The year before, 24.8%. He's actually at a strikeout rate over 24% every single year since 2017 until this season. Although, like I said, he's been hurt. He's only made 13 starts this year, pitched 66 innings. But all that aside, he is so priced down for a strikeout rate this year. 3.5 strikeouts, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I like the matchup from against the White Sox, and I am higher on Eduardo Rodriguez as a pitcher than most people generally tend to be. So final bet of the day, Eduardo Rodriguez over 3.5 Ks. So to recap my bets for the MLB slate, I've got George Kirby under 5.5 strikeouts, Chris Bassitt over 5.5 strikeouts, and then finally Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez over 3.5 strikeouts. Those are my favorite bets. Let me know what you guys are betting on below in the comment section. Anything on the board, whether it's a money line, player prop, something else, let me know below. Also, before you leave, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Good luck.